Take back control. Stop letting algorithms decide your news. Get uncensored history and real knowledge to strengthen your mind, body, and spirit. Watch ad-free content now at iNeverKnewTV.com Premium. All right, can you explain how reparations were paid to enslavers at the end of slavery?
And you said at the end of slavery, and this is something very interesting. The British had paid their enslavers with 20,000 pounds or whatever at that time. Well, the British government didn't have enough money to fully pay them. So that was part of the rationale for having the apprenticeship program, where they made the Africans work for a certain number of years after for free in order to pay that. Okay? But actually, this is startling. The British government just balanced that payment in 2015.
Say that again, please.
They just balanced that debt in 2015. So we've all been paying reparations to the enslavers. Yeah, you had a Chase account, Barclays account. Right. Yeah, they just settled that score.
Did American enslavers receive any money when slavery was abolished?
No, you know why? Civil War. Because if the South had not attacked Fort Sumter and they had continued negotiations with Lincoln, Lincoln's first plan was to send all the black people out with the American Colonization Society. And they had actually started sending people back to Africa, to Liberia, and then the black people enslaved those blacks once they got there. But the attack on Fort Sumter really did that. And then even with the Civil War, they lost everything. But then once Lincoln was assassinated, they were able to regain their property and afterwards. So they didn't get reparations payments per se, but they were able to keep their holdings.
And can you share your thoughts on reparations?
It's a lot. It really is a lot. You know, when people talk about reparations, they basically think about a dollar. So the first point is, before you can even come up with a dollar, you need to know what happened. You know, and this is how the Jews won their case. They did thorough research on everything the Germans did and detailed. So then they were able to be compensated based on that. And that's something we have not done. There's a lot of information on slavery during, after, but we still don't have it in such a systematic fashion where we can get the numbers. Well, Professor Darity, and where's the UNC? He comes up with a number based on things, but I think a lot more research has to be done, and that's what HR 40 was about, was to provide money to do the research. Then we can come up with a dollar amount. And then also, like, I spent some time in Barbados, and in the Caribbean, they always talk about self-reparations. You know, when I first heard that, being a Black American, I was like, oh boy. It sounds like some Booker T. Washington, pull yourself up by your own bootstrap mentality. You know, what is this about? But then, you know, I really started listening to them and watching them, and they really have a point to the extent that we have to do some self-healing and some self-reflection and see who we are as people in order to enter this whole argument about reparations. And also, it's so expansive. The art, our education, our research. There's so many facets to reparations.